Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So today's class agenda is all about market basket analysis as well as I'll cover clustering. Okay. So these two are basically unsupervised learning algorithms. Okay. Market basket analysis is not an algorithm, but the algorithm used is association rule, as well as there is one more algorithm. I'll cover it. Okay. So basically in market basket analysis, it's a kind of you try to analyze the purchasing behavior as well as you try to understand the pattern, the buying pattern of any customers. So basically it was initially used in supermarket. So from there this concept was derived and used in another another industry as well as in market research. Okay. So so as name suggests, market basket. So this idea was coined and derived from the supermarket transaction data. So obviously we will cover unsupervised machine learning, market basket analysis, and there is one case study, association rule, a priori algorithm, and application of market basket analysis. Okay. So in your syllabus there are three unsupervised machine learning algorithm. Okay. So they are there in unit 3 and 4. So I just combined it. So first one is clustering, second one is factor analysis, and third one is market basket analysis. Okay. So now we are at market basket analysis. So unsupervised means obviously the data will be unlabeled. Okay. We only have with us the requirement for unsupervised learning is only input data. We are not aware of the output. So that is called unlabeled data. So unlabeled means unsupervised. So even in clustering, factor analysis, and market basket analysis, our data are in the form of unsupervised format. That is unlabeled data. So coming to this market basket analysis. Okay. So market basket means sometime this analysis is also called affinity analysis. Okay. And association analysis. So the application of association rule that searches historical purchases to identify items purchased together. Okay. So when you go in a mall or in a shopping center, you purchase certain items frequently, but you are unaware of some association rules. Sometimes you buy milk and bread together. So that is associated. Okay. Milk, butter, bread, jam, sometimes you buy it. So these all are some purchasing pattern of so many customers. These are some commonality. Okay. So these common things, so that common thing is called purchasing pattern. So what goes with what? If you are buying milk, you are most likely to buy bread. So what product are ordered or purchased together? So in market basket analysis, so you can see in any shopping basket, you will find certain set of associated items and frequently purchased items. So that forms some sort of association rule. So in market basket analysis, we try to uncover the association rule in any transaction data. So one of the case, you might have heard of this beer and diaper case. So this example, an observant at Walmart store, he discovered some strong association between a brand of diapers and a brand of beer. So he saw sort of many transactions. So he had lakhs of transactions, and he discovered some a strong association that people are buying diapers and beer together. So he was confused that why people are buying like that. So he the analysis of purchase revealed that the when they saw the timing of these purchases, so they figured out it was mainly occurred between 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. So purchasing happened between 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. So he was confused that why people are buying like that. So he just tried to figure out that what is the reason, what is the rationale behind this purchasing pattern. So because so he just figured out, so because of the packs of diapers, normally people buy in a pack. So one of the the case might be the wife, who is in the most case make this household purchases. So sometime they left it for husband to buy these diapers, for newly parents. So so being at the end of the working week, maybe that husband wanted some beer as well. So this purchase happened on Friday. Okay, so obviously they find some association between these purchases. Okay, so the beer and diaper case is this is a famous case study. If you like to read it, you can Google it. Okay, so from this analysis, you can also say market basket analysis came from. So so now this Walmart people have this this association rule. They have this so what they did this with this knowledge. So also market basket analysis is all about knowledge discovery. So they had these transactions with them, many transactions. So and they also figured out some pattern in the data. So that is called knowledge discovery. Okay, so once you have a knowledge, then how you can apply it. So what supermarket do with this knowledge? So they put the premium beer display next to the diapers. Okay, and the result was that the fathers buying diapers and who also usually bought beer now bought the premium beer. So there is a, in marketing, there is a concept called upselling. You are trying to scale the selling. So in the now they are pushing obviously parents to buy the premium brand of this beer. That is called upselling. If somebody is purchasing 5,000 beer, they are pushing it to buy 7,000 beer, okay, rupees beer to buy. So that is called upselling in that category. So that is called upselling. Okay, and they placed it near to diaper. Okay, so those who were not buying the beer, now they are buying the beer because it is next to the diaper. Okay, so coming to the association rule. Okay, so in the application of association rule is market basket analysis. Okay, so the association rule is basically, it's a mining technique. It's not limited to market basket analysis. For people, for example, a person who are interested in novel reading can also listen to the Indian traditional music and also go to the theater. Okay, so the association rule is used in designing recommender system. So sometime you can see in a Google, when you type anything high, so they give you certain predictive text with you. They recommend you, okay, if you want to write this one, this one, this one. Okay, and similar with this Amazon kind of a thing. When you buy some, let's say, milk and bread, they will give you certain list of recommended item below, that do you want to buy some chips packet, maybe jelly or something like that. So that is designed using this association rule, and they have data with them. That is why they design it, recommender system, using association rule, and that is called market basket analysis. So association rule is a division of each item set into subset with one subset. There are, because transactions are many. For example, you bought 20 items, okay, in one day. So they yes.
So sorry for interrupting, sir. Sir, one student is waiting to enter into the class, please.
I don't have access. Can you ask Santanu sir?
Okay, sir. Sorry, sir.
Okay. So in association rule, basically, if you have a large transaction of data, so we pick up a subset of that, item set. That is called antecedent. And on the right side, that subset is called consequent. You can see in the right graph, in the right picture. So antecedent, you can see X and Y. On right side, there is a Z. If a consumer bought milk and eggs together, they often buy, they are likely to buy sugar too. So this is called association rule. Milk and egg. If milk and egg bought together, there is a high percent, there is a high chance of uh, being sugar to be bought. Okay, so milk and egg is antecedent and sugar is a consequence. So this is called association rule. It's from a certain rule which is governed by this association rule. So that is called market basket analysis. So this is one transaction. There are millions of transactions. Okay. So one of the example. So this is one of the practical example. So you come across frequently the sometime you buy a phone, and obviously then you go for a screen guard. Then you purchase a screen guard. This happens frequently. So from this example, when a customer buy a phone, he or she is likely to buy a screen guard also. So phone will be antecedent, and on the right side, a screen guard will be consequent. That is a consequence of phone purchase. Okay, if you are buying a phone, there is a most likely that you are going to buy a screen guard as well. So this will form a one set of association rule, and this will form a one subset of this purchase. Okay. So coming to there are 2-3 concept in this association rule. One is obviously support, confidence, and lift. There are 3 concept. Okay, support, confidence, and lift in association rule. So now we are at support. So what is support? Just see the data set in this table. So in the left side it's item name, on the right side it's transaction. So out of 2000 transactions, mobile was purchased 200 times, screen guard 160 times, mobile plus screen guard 120 times, let's say. Okay, so support is basically it's a frequent occurring event is called support. Okay, so support formula is given like how frequently mobile plus screen was bought divided by total transaction. Okay, so this will form a support. Okay, and the support it's coming up to 0.06. So it indicates probability of phone being bought, that event occurring. It shows the relative frequency of item sets. Okay, mobile plus screen guard together with total transaction. So it's a relative frequency. Okay, support. Okay, if support is more than 50%, then association is considered fruitful. But here the support is 0.06. So here you cannot say that there is some association here from this data set, because it's 0.06. Okay, and there is a one more concept called confidence. Okay, so the formula is given for the confidence as well. So it expresses the the efficiency of association rule. Okay, so 0.6 is the confidence. I think the value is good. So the probability that consumer will buy a screen guard provided that he has already bought the mobile phone. So this establishes some sort of confidence. Okay, so the confidence is all about the efficiency of association rule. If you have to check the efficiency, you have to go and check the data of this confidence. So what sort of confidence is there in these transactions? So this support, confidence, and there is one more concept called lift. So coming to this lift part. Okay, so in lift part also, if the value is more than 1, so it confirms association rule, and then you can go and check with those transactions, so what that transaction says. So lift is very important. So if you have this entire data set with you, so looking at the lift part, you can you can form some sort of assumptions, and you can decide what sort of marketing strategy is to be formulated based on this lift data. Okay, if lift is more than 1, then you have a chance to go and check the association rule. Okay, so from the example, I'll explain you how lift is very important in market basket analysis and in association rule mining. So this is called association rule mining basically. Okay, so in R programming, have you seen the data set I have provided you in classwork?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Today I will not run the R programming because I have provided you this screenshot. Okay, you just go and check this, screenshot, and you can do with that. Okay. So this transaction data. So read.csv. So data is there in the market basket.csv. Okay, entire data, and the data contains two attributes: transaction.id and transaction.details. Okay. So that data is stored in transaction data, trans data, and then I have displayed it that what this trans data contains. So trans data has two attributes. One of the attribute is ID, transaction.id, and another attribute is transaction.details. It means this is item name. Details is item. Let's say this is milk, A is milk, bread, C is something else, like that. Okay. So these all are the items. Okay. So first customer is purchasing, let's say, milk. Second customer is purchasing, let's say, bread. Third
So,
customer, yes,
so
yes.
middle one is the quantity like 1, 1, 2, 2, like the middle word, like
Transaction,
second column.
yes,
This
yes,
one, this
yes,
one.
yes, yes, yes.
This is the quantity.
Yeah, this one is quantity. Yes, this one is
Okay,
quantity.
okay, okay.
How means number of items. Okay.
Yep, yep, yes, sir.
So this is how market basket data set looks like. Okay. And now come to the second function that is called split function. So whatever data we have, now it's time to split the data. You have to check that how many times people have purchased A, B, C. This is one of the customer who bought A, B, and C items. There is a second customer who bought B, C, D, and E, something like that. Okay, they have just grouped the data. The purchasing items was divided into different groups. Okay, so let's say the one of the customer bought 4 items: B, C, D, and E. Okay, so this is how we have grouped the data using a split function. Okay. Then coming to this transaction data. Okay, so in transaction data, trans is user defined, and as there is a function called as, and then we will put transaction from the previous one. Okay, transactions. Okay, so there is we have to pass one of the parameter called app post data. This is from split function, and you have to pass this transaction. Okay, 2 parameters. In this will give you the frequently item purchased. Let's say B item was purchased 4 times, C item was purchased 4 times, and E was purchased 1 time. So this will give you a sort of number of times that transaction was done. Okay, so this is called transaction data. Okay, so now coming to this a priori function. So okay, so this a priori is called, this is called obviously a priori function, but you have to read it as like this has come from A and then priori, the prior intention, okay, that is called a priori. So actually this function was coined by one of the Indian people. I think I am forgetting their name. This algorithm was given by one of the Indian scientists. So basically in this a priori functions, basically we pass the parameter called support and confidence. A priori is a function, okay, and transaction data, and then we pass a parameter called list, support and confidence. Okay, support is 0.2 and confidence is 0.70. Okay, and then in this is one of the algorithm. So this is how a priori algorithm is implemented in R. So in this you have to pass the parameter support and confidence. Using this support and confidence, this algorithm will calculate lift, and lift is very important to decide whether this association rule holds good or not. Okay, so for that now you have to do inspect rules. Okay, so in rules our a priori algorithm is saved. Okay, and now we are doing inspect rules. Okay, so now just see the lift part. Okay, so lift is 1 and you can see 21 transactions. 21st transaction has lift of 5. Okay, so if lift is 1 or more than 1, it is good. So that inspect function display a set of association within a data set. So this R has given us 21 association rules. Okay, from this data set we can see obviously 21 such association rule is displayed, and based on this, these all are patterns. Basically these are the purchasing patterns of consumers. Okay, and which pattern is to choose for the marketers. The marketers decide which pattern is to choose and decide which product to order in advance. Okay, so this helps in also inventory management. So how much one of the item is to order in advance, and and how much item is to be displayed on this shelf. Okay, so this will give you a sort of idea, because these all are some sort of purchasing patterns, and based on these purchasing patterns, marketers decide which product is to be more focused on, and which product is should be given a less priority. Okay, so this is very helpful in market basket analysis for retail organizations. Those who are in retailing, this algorithm will help them in boosting their sale. Okay, so the application of market basket analysis, so
Sir, we have received only the Excel file, not the
the
syntax.
code is there in this PPT. Code
Okay,
is
sir.
there in PPT.
So
You can see and
share
you
PPT
can run it.
afterwards.
Yeah, I'll share you later,
Okay.
because the code is not lengthy, so you can run it, that code.
Okay, sir.
So application of market basket analysis basically based on cross selling, upselling. I have already told you that once you have pattern with you, now it's time to place your product. Which product is to be placed where, like beer and diaper. Now people put beer and diaper together. So this is sometime they do cross selling as well. Those who were not buying beer, now they are tend to buy beer because it's near to diaper. Okay, so this is called cross selling. Sometime loss leader analysis, why you are losing money, your products are not the way it should be displayed, it's not displayed like that. Okay, so you try to analyze the revenue loss, why there is a revenue loss. So also you analyze, that is called loss leader analysis. Sometime you design your product, so catalog, like maybe the physical catalog. Okay, so in that, which product is to be displayed where, which product will come after which product. So that also comes from this market basket analysis and association rule mining. Okay, and a store layout, most of the time you might have seen in operation management, store layout design. So that idea is also derived from this association rule mining, that how you are going to design your floor. Okay, which item is to be placed where. This is how in the concept of this market basket is applied here. And product placement obviously on the shelf. These all are related with this association rule, and that comes from your transactional data, that historical data with you, and then you decide which product is to be more focused on, and which product is to be not to be stressed on. So this is how market basket analysis works on. Okay, so do you have any question with this market basket analysis? This will come under unsupervised learning. Okay, so and the application of association rule is market basket analysis. It's not algorithm. Market basket analysis is not an algorithm. A priori is a name of this algorithm, which where it is applied in association rule, An association rule is basically it's a mining technique just to unearth the pattern, purchasing pattern, buying behavior. Okay, and the application of association rule is market basket analysis. So obviously market basket analysis. Okay. So now, do you have any question? So now switch to this clustering. To this clustering. Can you see my screen? Okay. So in clustering, basically clustering is also unsupervised machine learning. Okay, it's a machine learning algorithm, clustering technique. And also in this, the data are unlabeled data. You will have only input data with you. You don't know the response, the outcome. Okay. Normally we have, in neural network, you are aware of input and output. In logistic regression, you are also aware of input and output in regression as well. But in unsupervised learning, we are not aware of the outcome. We have only input data with us. We are not aware of the output. Okay, that is why it is called unsupervised. It is not under the supervision. Okay. So we will cover some steps of algorithm, clustering algorithm, and then we will apply R coding. And there is one more, algorithm that is used in clustering is called k-means algorithm, which is very important. And then we'll go for application of clustering. K-means algorithm is very important. That is applied in clustering algorithm. Okay. So in clustering, basically, I have already told you it's a unsupervised machine learning algorithm that that divides data automatically into clusters, or you can say groups of similar item. So in clusters, the item inside the item should be similar. Okay. So clustering is used for knowledge discovery. So all unsupervised learning is used in knowledge discovery. Okay, rather than prediction. So this unsupervised learning is not used in prediction that much. Okay, but supervised learning algorithms are used in prediction. So the work of unsupervised learning is to discover the knowledge. Okay, so clustering provides an insights into natural groupings found within this data. Okay, for example, in this example you can see there is a football and different balls, white balls, yellow balls. Okay, now we feed this data into our machines, obviously in computers, and we are trying to see if there is certain patterns or not. Then they give you certain sort of clusters, white ball together, football together, and yellow ball together. They form 3 different clusters. So these are groups of similar items. You can see these are items of groups of similar items. It's not like a dissimilar items put together. So in clustering, a group is formed which have a similar item, similar affinity. Okay, this is called clustering. So in clustering, unlabeled examples are in this. I have explained you this. Okay, so for this reason, sometimes a clustering technique is also referred as unsupervised classification. You can say they have also classified, but it is unsupervised. It's not a classification. They have unsupervised. So in clustering, the data will have a similar item, similar affinity. Okay, so that will come under one cluster. Okay, so those, for example, even in your project group, so people are formed, you might have formed a group. Maybe your nature and maybe your knowledge, maybe your educational background might be same. So you formed one group. So that is also you can relate with the clusters. Okay. So in clustering algorithms, so there are certain steps. Okay, I'll explain you using R programming. So in this, basically you select certain variables and then we decide a distance. Basically distance means if you can see the distance of this point to that point, in this, let's say this is one of the data set, another data set, another data set, 3 data sets. Or you can say it's a single data set. It's a single data set. Some data are here, some data are here. These data are scattered. This is you can say a scattered plot. We have a data set, let's say sales data. Okay, let's say sales data or transaction data. Let's say transaction data. Okay, so now we will select the variable. We have already selected the variable sales data. Then decide the distance similarity measures. Okay, then we apply certain rules, that is a cosine rules similarity. So in k-means there are certain algorithms are used like cosine rule similarity, sine rule similarity, or something like that, to decide the distance. Okay, then we decide the number of cluster, how many clusters is to be formed. I'll show you through R programming. Okay, and then there is a elbow method to gauge how the homogeneity with the change of, if you change the cluster, then if there is a variation in the data or not. Okay, so let me do a programming. I think programming is there or not. Okay, so first see this programming, then you will understand the steps. First, if you can see, this data set is with you, clusteringanalysis.csv. So the entire data set is stored in cluster, let's say CLSTR. This is called cluster, and then I have displayed the entire attributes that is there in this data set. For example, let me explain this data set. So there are 20 customers. Okay, and the amount spent on this beauty item as well as apparel item. Okay, so data set has 20 customers data. Each customer's expenditure on both these items are listed below. Okay, and the aim of this clustering technique is to form a group of customers based on their similarity or purchasing behavior. Okay, so we have 20 customers with us and their transaction data, how much they have spent on this beauty item as well as healthcare item. Okay, now we have to form a clusters. Okay, so the first step is this, we have read this data. Second step is we have applied this k-means algorithm. So you can see this k-means is user defined right now here, and this k-means, a smaller one, is the name of this algorithm, and we have imported this data. Cluster data is there in this cluster, and comma 3 is the number of cluster we want to form. You can increase this to 4, 5 depending on your need. Okay, so now you can see, if you put these 3 clusters, so three different these clusters will come. So now you have to analyze it first. Just see 3 clusters. Okay, you can see the clustering vectors. Okay, clustering vectors 1, 2, 3, something like that. Okay, so consumer 1 or customer 1 will come in cluster 1, 2 will come in cluster 3, 3 will come in cluster 2. Can you get it? 4th will come in cluster 1. So this is how I have made 3 clusters. Cluster 1, consumer 1, 4, 8, 15 and 18. Cluster 2 have data of customer 2, 5th, 7, 9, 11, 14 and something like that. Cluster 3. So these, based on these clusters, now you have formed 3 clusters. Okay, now marketers or retail chain have these 3 clusters. So now marketers can design 3 strategies to boost the sale of this both these items, apparels and healthcare items, to each cluster of customers. That if I am more interested in healthcare items, so the marketers will give us the offerings based on this, whether I belong to cluster 1, 2 or 3. He can easily figure out. Okay, if I'm more interested in healthcare, then he may put me into cluster 3, and then he can offer me certain products based on that. So discount coupons, they can offer some discount coupons, buy 2 get 1 free kind of a thing, that can be implemented to increase the sales. The 3 the clusters 3 have more number of customers, you can see. So the cluster 3 is very crucial, and also their mean is very high. So marketers can push cluster 3 and they can put more number of offers, discounts, payback, something, cards, credit card, something like that. So just to boost their sales. So this is how, in marketing techniques, unsupervised learning is used. In most of the time, marketing research people used, this unsupervised learning and unlabeled data. This is very helpful. So, this is how you can plot the, clusters, customers, apparels, and both. This is the mean value. This is how it is being plotted. So, coming to this application, of clustering. So I have already told you this, how you have to segment the customers. Okay. So based on, let's say I have 3 clusters now. So now I have segmented my customers based on these clusters. Okay. So customer segmentation, helps, marketing people to segment their different customers into different groups with their similar, maybe demography, maybe certain purchasing patterns, and then they can do some target marketing. So they pitch some, targeted marketing campaign to them, and then they can increase their sales. Okay. So sales revenue in marketing is very important. So how you can increase your sale is the one and the last, obviously the aim of any marketers. So customer segmentation can be done based on these clustering techniques. So anomaly detection is sometimes, for example, in one of the example, I have made one of the Android app for one of the college. Okay. So they have, live this app on this Play Store, and they have used for, let's say, 6 months, and then they have used in another year, let's say after 1.5 years. So after 1.5 years, they tried to attract many numbers of users. So let's say if in year 1, when they launched this app, the number of users were, let's say, 100. After 1.5 years, then they didn't do any changes within these 1.5 years, and after 1.5 years they have upgraded this app, and then they did some marketing. So after that, they captured at least 1,000 customers, so you can say users. So in that case, the Google will detect some anomaly. So it was unusual kind of behavior. So that is called anomaly detection. So anomaly detection is basically, it's an unusual behavior. So that behavior is identified using some sort of clustering techniques. Okay. So basically in clustering, what we do is we group based on some similar features, and we cluster it. So that is also called segmentation. Okay. So this is how clustering is used. Okay. So any question in clustering? Anybody has any question? Anybody has any question?
सर एक
या पुर
करके देख सकते हैं क्या इनको?
हाँ करके
छोटा सा एग्जांपल.
हाँ ये तो मैंने दे रखा है ना. If anybody can volunteer, even if you can try it, you can try it. Okay, 1 minute. Let me. क्लस्टरिंग करना चाह रहे हो?
हाँ जी, छोटा सा एग्जांपल.
हाँ ये कर लो अभी. अपूर्व, you are doing or what?
नहीं सर, मेरे सिस्टम में तो नहीं चलेगा अभी, कुछ इशू है. बट
नितेश कर सकते हो?
नितेश
सर कर लूंगा सर. वो कोड बता दीजिए एक बार सर, वो प्रोग्रामिंग कैसे करनी है वो, मतलब.
नहीं तो ऐसा कर लो, मैं स्क्रीन अभी शेयर कर रहा हूँ, उसको देख करके कर लो.
हाँ जी सर, एक बार आप स्क्रीन दिखा दीजिए. मैं वो पिक्चर
तो अभी साइड बाय साइड कर लो. अभी साइड बाय साइड कर लोगे
सर? वो स्क्रीन बार बार चेंज हो जाएगी सर. एक बार आप दिखा दीजिए, मैं उसको वो
ऐसा करो, इसका स्क्रीनशॉट अभी ले लो.
हाँ सर ले रहा हूँ सर. वही सर, नेक्स्ट पेज दिखा दीजिए. ले लिया.
ये यहाँ से स्टार्ट है, ठीक है?
हाँ सर, नेक्स्ट पेज.
नेक्स्ट कर दूं?
हाँ जी सर.
ये रहा नेक्स्ट. हो गया?
एक मिनट सर. हाँ जी सर, हो गया.
बस 2 ही है, ज़्यादा नहीं लगाना है।
ओके सर, एक मिनट
एक
मैं
प्लॉट
screen
वाला,
select-
एक प्लॉट वाला कर लेना, ठीक है, प्लॉट वाला।
एक ठीक है सर, मैं अभी स्क्रीन शेयर
अभी स्क्रीन शेयर करके कर लो अभी।
जी सर।
स्टॉपिंग में स्क्रीन।
ओके सर।
ध्रुव आया है? ध्रुव, ध्रुव, you have
Yes, sir.
sent that? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Dhruv, I have seen your data set. Okay, so I'll take a couple of minutes, okay, before we end this session. Nitesh, project yours.
हाँ जी
Sure,
सर, यस
sir, sure, sir.
प्रोजेक्ट।
Nitesh, your screen is not visible.
सर इज माय स्क्रीन विजिबल?
Yes, yes.
ओके सर। सर माय फाइल नेम इज क्लस्टर।
Read.php.
राइट सर, सर दिस इज द
Yes,
डाटा।
yes. Then apply k-means. K-means.
सर के मींस का के कैपिटल होगा, राइट?
हाँ, नहीं, ये इसको क्लस्टर एल्गोरिदम कर दो, यूजर डिफाइंड है ना, अदरवाइज यू विल गेट कंफ्यूज। के मीन्स बोथ। इसको ऐसे मत करो, इसको क्लस्टर एल्गोरिदम कर दो।
हाँ सर, मतलब
सी कैपिटल CLSTRALGO
STR
एंड कैपिटल ALGO, एल्गो।
अच्छा, LGO स्मॉल में होगा।
एल्गो कर दो, हाँ, एंड देन लेस देन माइनस के मीन्स, लेस देन माइनस के मीन्स, के
के
मीन्स
मींस का के कैपिटल।
smaller, k means both, k means
राइट सर।
take data from cluster, first parameter, second
क्लस्टर सर क्लस्टर फाइल नेम आएगा ना, जो मेरा फाइल नेम है।
हाँ, क्लस्टर वही से बोल रहा हूँ ना, सी क्लस्टर कॉमा 3।
सर इसमें डॉलर का साइन नहीं आएगा?
नहीं आएगा, मैं बता रहा हूँ।
अच्छा सर, ठीक है।
एंड क्लस्टर एल्गो, इंटर।
राइट सर।
ये नीचे जो आ रहा है ना क्लस्टरिंग वेक्टर, अपूर्व,
हाँ जी।
क्लस्टरिंग वेक्टर जो आ रहा है ना यहाँ से, ये 20 कस्टमर्स के दे रखे हैं।
एक मिनट सर, मैं स्क्रीन थोड़ी बड़ी कर देता हूँ।
यहाँ से ही हमने क्लस्टर फॉर्म करा है, जो क्लस्टरिंग वेक्टर है। मैं नितेश,
नहीं, हाँ जी
क्लस्टरिंग
सर।
वेक्टर पे वो ले जाना कर्सर, क्लस्टरिंग वेक्टर पे।
सर ये क्लस्टरिंग वेक्टर क्या है सर?
यही बता रहा है कि कौन सा कस्टमर जो है किस क्लस्टर के अंदर जाएगा। 2 3 1 वो नाम है क्लस्टर 1 का।
ओके।
सॉरी, ये क्लस्टर 2 है, क्लस्टर 3 है, बट वो कंज्यूमर का नाम है। जो 8 नंबर का है ना, लास्ट नंबर का 20 नंबर का जो कंज्यूमर है,
हाँ जी सर, ये
वो 3 क्लस्टर में चला जाएगा। ये 20 नंबर वाला जो है, 19 के बाद 20 वाला जो है, ऊपर डेटा में देख सकते हैं।
हाँ जी सर, 6.25 जो है।
हाँ, ये क्लस्टर 3 में जाएगा, 19 वाला भी 3 में जाएगा। तो
सर,
3 क्लस्टर
अच्छा।
हमने, हाँ
अच्छा
हाँ,
सर, ये जो वेक्टर्स हैं ये सीरियल नंबर है हमारे बेसिकली।
हाँ, सीरियल नंबर है वो कंज्यूमर के, ठीक है, 1 to 20 के।
सर ये क्लस्टर मींस में क्लस्टर के नीचे 9.75 ट्रिपल
ये इसका मीन दे रखा है, ये मीन दे रखा है।
अच्छा क्लस्टर मींस है ये सब, कोई फॉर्मूला लगा हुआ है इसमें है ना?
हाँ, इसमें सारे में फॉर्मूले लगे हुए हैं, ठीक है। ठीक है, और बेसिकली क्लस्टरिंग तब यूज करते हैं जब हमें पता ही नहीं होता करना क्या है। तो हमने 3 क्लस्टर फॉर्म कर लिया, उसके अकॉर्डिंग आप फिर मार्केटिंग स्ट्रेटजी लगाएंगे, कौन सा प्रोडक्ट पे हमें क्या ऑफर देना है या नहीं देना है। और कभी कभी क्या होता है ना, आप कभी जाते हैं सुपरमार्केट में तो उसको पता होता है कि आप खरीदोगे क्या। एक प्रोडक्ट लीड है ना, तो उसको पता होता है कि आप खरीदोगे क्या, क्योंकि वो उसको पता होता है कि ये हमारे इस क्लस्टर का कंज्यूमर है। कभी कभी कंफ्यूज हो जाते हो कि ये मुझे कैसे सजेस्ट कर दिया इसने ये प्रोडक्ट, क्योंकि वो जानता है, वो डेली उसके पास इस तरह के कस्टमर्स आते हैं, ठीक है। तो उसके पास पता होता है परचेजिंग बिहेवियर, ये जो है
दरवाजा मत खोलना।
ठीक है अपूर्व।
सर इसमें तो हमारा जो वेक्टर्स है, आउटपुट तो वेक्टर्स हैं, ये जो ऊपर नीचे की इंफॉर्मेशन है जैसे मीन्स और सम स्क्वायर बाय क्लस्टर, ये तो एक्स्ट्रा इंफॉर्मेशन दी है इस फंक्शन में, करेक्ट?
क्लस्टरिंग, एक तो क्लस्टरिंग मीन्स है,
हाँ जी।
नीतीश दिख सकते हो, ये क्लस्टरिंग 1 का मीन है। 2 आइटम है हमारे, ठीक है। एक तो इसने कस्टमर का भी मीन निकाल दिया है, बट अप्रैल डॉट ब्यूटी जो है, अप्रैल ब्यूटी एक आइटम है, दूसरा हेल्थ केयर है। उसका क्लस्टर 1 में 5.74 ये इसका मीन है, ठीक है। ये इसने मीन निकाल दिया है हमारा। फर्स्ट क्लस्टर 1 का क्या मीन है और प्रोडक्ट 1 का क्या मीन है। हेल्थ केयर वाले प्रोडक्ट का क्या मीन, मीन्स एक्सपेंडिचर कितना है। लेट्स से कि 17 मतलब 17 रुपीज़ मान लो। क्लस्टर 1 में हेल्थ केयर में सबसे ज़्यादा 17 रुपये का कोई प्रोडक्ट खरीदा है, मान लो 17 रुपये तो नहीं है, ज़्यादा ही होएगा, बट लेट्स से कि 1700 का हो, ठीक है। क्लस्टर 2 में जो हेल्थ केयर का खरीदा है 1.3 है, ठीक है, उसको 100 से मल्टीप्लाई कर दो लेट्स से, यहाँ पे समझने के लिए। क्लस्टर 3 का जो कस्टमर है उसमें मैक्सिमम परचेज हेल्थ केयर में 6.33 लेट्स से रुपीज़ का हुआ है। ये इस तरह से इंटरप्रेट कर सकते हो। और अब क्लस्टरिंग वेक्टर जो है बेसिकली 1 से 20 कस्टमर्स को हम किस क्लस्टर में रखें उसका वो वेक्टर दे दिया है। वो क्लस्टर लेट्स से कंज्यूमर नंबर 20 विल फॉल अंडर क्लस्टर 3 और नॉट, तो इसमें दे दिया है 3 लिखा हुआ है, 3 है।
और सर ये पहली वाली इंफॉर्मेशन क्या है हमारी 9.7 5.7?
ये कस्टमर का है। 1 2 3 1 से 20 करोगे ना तो उसका उस तरह से दे दिया है customer का।
अच्छा अच्छा, ओके ओके ओके।
वो रो उठा पिक कर लेता है ना, हर एक रो का मीन, क्योंकि न्यूमेरिकल डेटा है,
हाँ ठीक है।
तो वो ऑब्वियसली उस सबका मीन निकाल दिया, ठीक है।
ओके।
और कोई सवाल?
सर ये प्लॉट भी आ जाएगा?
प्लॉट भी आ जाएगा, वो मीन का ही है, ऊपर वाले का वो प्लॉट कर रहा है,
Okay.
वो क्लस्टर मीन का ही वो प्लॉट कर रहा है, वो तो ग्राफिकल दिखाने के लिए मैंने दे दिया था। बेसिकली इसका यूज जो होता है ना वो मार्केटिंग वाले ज़्यादा करते हैं, ये बोथ मार्केट बास्केट एनालिसिस एंड क्लस्टरिंग मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम, बिकॉज अनलेबल्ड डेटा होता है उनके पास, डेटा पड़ा होता है, अब करना क्या है इसमें, तो रिस्पॉन्स वेरिएबल तो कुछ है नहीं, 2 ही आइटम है ना, अप्रैल और हेल्थ केयर। अब करना क्या है, इसके ट्रांजेक्शन के आइटम आ गए कि 21 रुपये का किसी ने खरीदा कस्टमर 1, हेल्थ केयर में 0.70 का खरीदा है। अब इसी तरह उनके पास डेटा रखा हुआ है, वो करना क्या है पता नहीं। नाउ यू कैन अप्लाई क्लस्टरिंग एंड देन यू कैन डिसाइड किस कस्टमर को क्या पिच करना है हमें, तो उससे एक परचेजिंग पैटर्न आ जाता है, ठीक है।
सर ये अवेलेबल कंपोनेंट्स जो है ये क्या शो कर रहे हैं जो लास्ट में आ रहा है?
ये सब उसी के मीन्स एल्गोरिदम में ये सारे पैरामीटर्स यूज होते हैं, के मीन्स एल्गोरिदम के, ठीक है। नीचे
ओके सर।
ध्रुव तुम अपना स्क्रीन प्रोजेक्ट करना और डेटा दिखाना। ध्रुव
सर मैं हटा दूं स्क्रीन सर?
हाँ नीतीश हटा दो।
ओके सर।
ध्रुव तुम अपना
सर मैंने अभी राइट नाउ जो है लॉगिन करा हुआ है, फोन से लॉगिन करा हुआ है।
डेटा नहीं है तुम्हारे पास?
इस डेटा की बात कर रहे हैं जो आपने शेयर करा है मेल पे?
नहीं, तुमने जो शेयर करा था।
सर वो आपको मेल कर दिया था शायद मैंने, आपने देखा होगा।
नहीं उसमें क्या है बेसिकली, जस्ट गिव मी 2 मिनट्स, क्लास तो खत्म हो गया। उसमें जो डेटा है ना तुम्हारा, वो किसका था वो डेटा, बेसिकली यू वर प्रिडिक्टिंग सम सॉर्ट ऑफ लोन डिफॉल्टर ना।
यस सर।
लोन देना है या नहीं देना है,
लोन एलिजिबिलिटी,
मतलब देना है या नहीं देना है, ऐसा है कुछ था ना।
टू फाइंड, यस सर।
मतलब देना है या नहीं देना है,
Yes,
उसको एलिजिबल है या नहीं, यही है ना, वही है ना, बाइनरी में है ना, रिस्पॉन्स वेरिएबल बाइनरी में है ना।
यस सर।
हाँ ठीक है। तो इसको इसमें जो लगाना है टेक्निक, आइदर यू कैन गो फॉर लॉजिस्टिक रिग्रेशन और न्यूरल नेटवर्क, बट माय सजेशन वुड बी टू गो फॉर न्यूरल नेटवर्क, क्योंकि रिस्पॉन्स वेरिएबल हमारा बाइनरी में है, 0 और 1,
यस सर।
कैटेगोरिकल है। तो लॉजिस्टिक लगा सकते हो, अदर सारे इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल हो जाएंगे, बट जितने और सारे इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल हैं जो कैटेगोरिकल हैं 1 0 1 0 उसको हटा देना। ठीक है, ये मैं कहना चाह रहा था। पहले लॉजिस्टिक रिग्रेशन लगाओ एंड देन यू गो फॉर न्यूरल नेटवर्क। फाइनल प्रोजेक्ट जब बनाओगे तो यू हैव टू अप्लाई न्यूरल नेटवर्क। ओके ध्रुव?
ओके सर, ओके। आप कह रहे हैं कि न्यूरल नेटवर्क यूज करें रादर देन
लॉजिस्टिक रिग्रेशन एक बार अप्लाई कर लो, उसको देख लो कि कौन सा इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल लेना है, क्योंकि इंडिपेंडेंट भी 7 8 या 9 है।
यस सर।
और उसमें कैटेगोरिकल नहीं लगा सकते हो और अनस्ट्रक्चर्ड वाला नहीं लगा सकते हो। लेट्स से कि कोई एम्प्लॉयड है, अनएम्प्लॉयड है, वो भी डेटा है ना।
यस सर, यस सर।
सारे को न्यूमेरिकल फॉर्मेट में भरना पड़ेगा, ये मैं कहना चाह रहा था। तो सबको हटा दो, जो न्यूमेरिकल में उसको पिक कर लो, उसमें लॉजिस्टिक रिग्रेशन लगा लो, डेटा ट्रेन कर लो। 165 डेटा था शायद, तो
Yes, sir, yes,
150
sir.
डेटा लेकर के लॉजिस्टिक रिग्रेशन ट्रेन कर लो, एक मॉडल बन जाएगा। तो 161 वाला जो डेटा है उसको डाल के देखो कि रिस्पॉन्स में 1 या 0 क्या आ रहा है। ठीक है, वो वेरीफाई कर लोगे। समझ में आ रहा है? या एक बार ट्राई कर लो, तब समझ में आएगा मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ।
सर मैंने ट्राई किया, मेरे में एरर शो कर रहा है।
शांत, क्या हो गया?
यस सर, एक
सर
बार
एरर
ट्राई
शो कर
करके
रहा
मैं
है।
आपको बताता हूँ।
CSV करके किया ना मैंने, तो एरर शो कर रहा है सर इसमें।
एरर्स क्यों, क्या शो कर रहा है?
सर मैं कहना प्रेजेंट माय स्क्रीन।
हाँ हाँ, दिखाओ।
सर
यस
हेलो
यस, या
सर, एक्चुअली क्या हम ये मीटिंग यहाँ एंड कर सकते हैं, बिकॉज सानूर मैम का मैसेज आया है
हाँ कर
that
सकते
she
हैं, कर
won't
सकते
be
हैं।
able to take class after 12.
ओके ओके, एंड कर सकते हैं, एंड कर लो फिर। ओके
Yes sir. Okay.
प्रशांत, क्या प्रॉब्लम है?
सर ये एरर शो कर रहा है, read.csv मैंने किया तो, लेकिन डेटा लोड नहीं हो रहा।
डेस्कटॉप वर्ड से कराए?
हाँ यस सर, डेस्कटॉप में मैंने अपनी फाइल रखी हुई है।
सी वाले फोल्डर में रखो, कहीं यूजर्स वाले के बाद ना एक फोल्डर बना लो, उसमें रखो। डेस्कटॉप में तो सारे वो समझ रहा होगा, सारे फोल्डर है। डेस्कटॉप में मत करो
सर ये डेस्कटॉप मेरा सी में ही है।
उस सी वाले में रखो, सी या डी ड्राइव किसी में रखो। ओके,
ओके सर।
सी या डी ड्राइव में रखो। जिस
सर
तरह
क्लास
से
के बाद कांटेक्ट कर सकते हैं सर आपको।
हाँ हाँ, कर लो, ठीक है।
ओके सर।
ओके सर, मैं ट्राई
लेट्स एंड दिस सेशन। ओके, थैंक यू एंड वी विल
Okay,
कनेक्ट
sir,
टुमारो।
please share the PPT, sir.
क्या बोल रहे हो? आज
Sir,
पीपीटी?
PPT
अच्छा ठीक है नितेश, मैं कर दूंगा। ठीक है,
Okay, sir, thank you. Sir.
ओके
Thank you,
बाय।
sir.
ओके, थैंक यू, बाय।